I watched a lot of movies this weekend. So this week in A Quiet Place Day One, Horizon: An American Legacy, and Kinds of Kindness, the newest movie from Yorgos Lanthimos, came out, and I went and saw all of them across a 4-day span. And I've been pretty busy, so I'm just going to kind of rapid fire review all three of these movies and just what I watched this weekend, because all three of these movies are worth talking about. So starting off with A Quiet Place Day One, this is probably my least favorite of the three, and it's also the one that I saw first. I saw it on Friday, and it was fine. It doesn't live up to the two that are directed by John Krasinski. It doesn't play with sound. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't show you them figuring out that they need to be quiet. The concept of the character of Sam having terminal cancer is a pretty interesting concept, and they did a really good job hiding that in the trailers. But this movie just feels so boring and soulless. Like, there's not that much meat to it. It's not something that I'm ever going to remember. It's not something that I'm ever really going to care to watch again. I'm not going to hate if I was forced to, if I was forced to sit down and watch this movie again, I wouldn't hate it, but it's never going to be something that I'm going to pick out to watch again. So I'll give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then the next movie that I saw was Horizon. That was on Sunday night, and oh boy, this was my favorite. I was not expecting it to be my favorite going in. I was expecting the 3 movies this weekend in order of my favorites to be Kinds of Kindness, Horizon, and then Quiet Place. So this spoils my Kinds of Kindness rankings in this entire weekend saga of movies. But Horizon was so incredibly good. I think people in Hollywood just hate the idea of somebody like Kevin Costner self-producing and financing his own movie. I was not expecting to go in and like this movie. And all the reviews that are positive for this movie that Horizon's using on their social media campaigns are not the right reviews to be using at all, because the people that like this movie, I think, have a massive misunderstanding of what this is, and the people that don't like it are just blind and refusing to acknowledge how fantastic of a movie this is and how rare it is to get a movie like this. We just got a 3-hour epic Western in 2024, and we're getting the second part of it in August, and I cannot wait for the second half of this movie, because the first half had me so encapsulated. I was expecting to be bored, because most of the reviews that I heard were that nothing happens, there's no story, nothing gets set up. There are 5 storylines throughout this movie, and they introduce them at perfect points, and you see just enough of every single one, and I was never bored. I watched 3 hours of a Western and was never bored at any point whatsoever. This movie 100% could have been a TV show, but I am so incredibly glad that it was put on the big screen, because it is one of the most beautiful movies of the year, and Kevin Costner really knows how to frame a shot, because I just got so incredibly immersed in the world that he had built. The action sequence at the beginning was fantastic. You can care about the characters. I'm very excited to see where they go in part 2. And honestly, I wish that there was about 40 minutes more of this movie, because I genuinely could have sat down and watched it. I didn't get home from this movie until about 1 a.m. I would have been completely fine getting home at 2 a.m. because I enjoyed this movie that much. A Western that I saw not too long ago, which was directed by Viggo Mortensen, The Dead Don't Hurt, was a fantastic movie, and it subverted the genre because it focused on the woman who stayed behind and was left while Viggo Mortensen's character went off to war. And that subverted the Western genre. And that completely subverted the Western genre. There's so many movies nowadays where it feels like you can't do the same thing that we've done back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the 70s. You can't do that anymore. You have to add something new. You have to add something fresh. And then Kevin Costner just shows up and says, no, I'm just going to make a damn good Western. And that's what he does. You can feel his love for this movie, for this project, seeping onto the screen, because the man just wanted to tell a good story and a good Western. He didn't want to do anything new. You don't have to do anything new every single time, and this movie is seriously one of my favorite movies of the year because of that. So screw the 43% it has on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it's at. This is a damn good movie. It's one of the quickest 3 hours that you will ever have in your life. Go see Horizon, and make sure you let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. And for the last movie, Yorgos Lanthimos' Kinds of Kindness, I saw this one on Tuesday, and it was one of my most anticipated movies once I knew that it was happening. And Yorgos is a very weird director, but I've genuinely liked to loved all of his movies. And Kinds of Kindness is probably my least favorite, but it's still a very good movie. It's definitely weird. General audiences are not going to like this whatsoever. If you're a Yorgos fan, you'll like it or love it. If you're not a Yorgos fan, you'll hate this because it's just 3 short stories. They don't connect in any way whatsoever outside of the themes of each story, which I interpret as a movie about love and toxicity in relationships today, because Yorgos has never really set his movies in the modern day. They're either in the dystopian future or some crazy version of the past, and this is really his first movie that I've seen set in the modern day, and I definitely think that that was a purposeful choice, because I think the commentary of this movie is about how love is perceived now, how crazy people can be with the vibrant cars, cults, sex with no intimacy or actual love whatsoever. So it's a really hard movie to talk about without getting into spoilers. I think that Jesse Plemons is fantastic. I'm so happy that he's finally starring in a movie. Emma Stone's great, but grass is green. Willem Dafoe as well. I thought that Margaret Qualley was a fantastic standout in this. And it's 2 hours and 44 minutes, and I never really felt like it dragged too much outside of the third story, because I was just invested in trying to figure out and dissect what Yorgos was going for throughout the entire time, and really paying attention and learning from this movie. So overall, it was a fantastic weekend to go see a movie. You can't go wrong with any of these 3. Let me know what you thought of any of the ones that you've seen down in the comments below. Make sure to follow me over on Letterboxd down in the description below. Make sure to follow us over on Twitter as well. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next movie review.